All right, folks, this is game four review. We'll get right into it. So, as always, you guys are doing really well in the attack. You're working really well together, getting open, passing through the defense. Something that I did see pretty often that worked really well was you would advance and the defense would cover. You'd make a pass, especially a retreat pass like this, and the defense would shift. They would move over to cover here. Most of the time, they didn't have well coordinated team defense. So you would get into these situations where you would have two of your players, two attackers, um, able to just pass back and forth between each other um, and get this single defender having to shift back and forth and back and forth. So this happened a number of times in the game. It serves many purposes. One is it tires out the defense. Like eventually this person just gives up because there's no one else coming to help. And so you get into a situation where they stop recovering, through these passes, and you just have a free dribble into the box. Um, so that actually happened a few times. So this is working really well. We talk about having the retreat pass and swinging the ball, but um, if you still have the advantage, numerical advantage on this side, just continue to play this game here. It also works if you have a third person and a second defender. This is just a rondo. You just continue to pass to the open man until the defense, uh, doesn't doesn't recover um, appropriately, and then you have open opportunities to get in. So playing that keep away game, it's not just a matter of keeping possession in terms of time, but it's also affecting the defense. You are tiring out the defense, you're frustrating them, and you're getting them to make mistakes. Either they don't actually recover, they don't cover the goal, um, or this actually happens pretty often, is they just end up giving up. This especially happens when you have teams that they don't play a good passing game. They will receive the ball, they will boot it, and this happens very often, straight to straight to us. We get possession, and we don't boot it. And this is another thing that you guys are doing really well on defense. There are issues with our defense and we need to work on it. But on defense, for the most part, you are all receiving the ball, you're settling it, you're not you're not worrying too much. This is kind of an anti-pattern. This is something that happens a lot in this age range. Is you're taught that, hey, the ball is here, and you have a defender approaching. You need to, as quickly as possible, either clear the ball, get it out of this space, or even worse, get it out of play. And this is true. You do want to do this in certain circumstances. So if you don't have an open pass, if you don't have, many times you have your goalie, you can pass back to your goalie. But if you really don't have any options or any time, then yeah, that's a valid thing to do. Get it out of play. But far too often in this age group, um, you guys have enough skill and you have enough time that this isn't your only option. And for the most part, you guys are doing this very well. You're receiving the ball, you're trusting yourselves to take the time to find an open pass, and then you're making that pass. Or, um, we saw this late in game on Saturday. Was this exact scenario happened? They booted the ball down, defense got possession, attacker is sprinting all out to try to challenge, and this person didn't really have anyone around, but they did notice that there was an open midfielder pretty far away. And so they booted the ball, but they didn't boot the ball out of play, and they didn't boot the ball straight back to the defense, which happens a lot. They just kick the ball back, and now the defense has it, and it just kind of goes back and forth and back and forth. I watched a 14U game a week ago where I saw that happening just over and over and over. Each team just kept playing tennis, kicking the ball back and forth to each other. So in our game, Q4, we received attackers coming in. They looked and they said, hey, I've got very little time, so I want to clear this ball. I want to get it out of here. But they cleared it into the general direction of a midfielder. And when that happened, the 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 dynamic shifted dramatically because we now had possession in an attacking position with open attackers, forward, and all of their players were shifted onto our side of the field because they assumed, they were optimistic and they assumed that they could press our defense and that we would just give the ball away. But this was a very, one kick, just one kick changed the whole dynamic of the game of that possession because they took the time to say, hey, I'm going to get it to someone open and not just move it out of this area. So that was an extremely well done sequence. All right. So again, you guys are doing all those things well. We're going to talk about some of the things that we need to work on. Um, Again, our midfielders, you guys got to get back. Um, Many times we had this scenario where ball's on our side of the field, and our midfielders are still in the attacking positions. You guys are very, very attacking mindseted. You have an attacking mindset because you're doing very well at bouncing the ball between the strikers and the midfielders. And look at this positioning. Like you guys just keep bouncing the ball around. They have very, little possibility of getting it from you, and you get into scoring positions, most of the time. But we do have to balance that with defense. So our midfielders, you have to be back across the line if they have possession. The second that they get possession, you have to be behind the line to support your defense. Too often, um, we were in this scenario where they had the ball on our side of the field, and the only people on defense were our back three. And that, yes, we ask a lot of you guys, and we have to work on things like, one thing that happened a lot is we would be in this position, and the attacker would literally just dribble in between you two. So we have some things to work on there. One is staggering. So we've talked about this. One behind the other. One cover. Cover meaning you don't let the ball pass. Don't try to get the ball, just don't let the player advance. Um, and then you have one support. And then, again, we want to create this separation where this person's responsibility is simply to um, separate the ball and the attacker, and that's it. And keep the attacker, don't worry about the ball, just keep the attacker from making progress to the goal. Think a bit about this like a linebacker. You don't care about the ball, you care about not letting the person pass. So we're going to work on that in practice more. This backup here, his job is to gain possession of the ball once you have that separation. Um, so the, the, the main problem that we had is we're standing side by side and we're letting attackers exploit us with quick dribbling. If we were staggered, that would not happen as much. They would beat one, they'd have a second, this person would come back behind, and you'd have a continuous staggering effect. So this person would have to, in essence, if we do it right, they'd have to beat you more than once, maybe two times each player. So they would, instead of having to defend, instead of having to make one quick dribble past one, a set of an opponents one time, we want them to have to get past you, get past your support, and then get past you again and get past your support again. So, either they have to beat one person or beat the two of you one time, or they have to beat the two of you four separate times. This is what we want to see. So even the best player out there is going to have a hard time beating you four times to get to the goal by themselves. All right, so that staggering is extremely important. We need to work on that. In, again, the defense staggering, midfielders recovering to support. Something that we're going to try to work on is actually changing our position defensively and saying that either the center mid is going to be responsible for fallback, which means that um, rather than being on the press, the expectation is that the strikers, we're going to have two strikers here, and the wing, the right and left midfielders will act as wingers up here. So this will be the attacking group, and the center mid will stay back, and they will support the center back. And so the idea is that the center mid would be defensive minded. So they would be back here, and they're expected to be the first line of defense on an attack from the opposing team. So that's one thing that we might do. The other possibility, um, the other possibility is that we actually reverse those roles, and the center mid has more of an attacking role, and the wings are expected to be more defensive minded. Um, Either one of those, we're hoping to get more folks in our half when there's an attack. So those are really the only two major issues that we have is, um, being having the right tactical positioning when an attack is happening, and recovering, getting back and being available for support um, in the backfield. Those are really the only two issues that we have. Um, we did, again, we do have some examples. It was less than game three of the defense swinging for the ball. So if you swing for this ball and you're not trying to cover, um, you're out of the play. You might as well just fall down. If swinging for the ball means that you're standing on a single leg, and this player can very, very easily dribble around you, and you're out of the play. So we need to get into the habit of keep both feet on the ground. We play cover. We we try to nudge this person to one side of the field, so allowing them to make progress, but towards the side, not towards the goal. Anything at all to delay them. And then once you have support, once you have someone behind you, then you can attempt to dislodge the ball. All right, that is it. Thanks guys for watching. I'll see you at practice.